What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and boy, am I tired. I was up till like 3:30 last night or this morning, and then I woke up at 6. Stupid, but I did it. And here we are. All right, on today's show, we're going to be talking about Hogwarts Legacy 2 in production at Warner Brothers Games. We're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2. There's a couple things about the Nintendo Switch 2 that came out yesterday. Talk about backwards compatibility a little bit. We're going to talk about Warcraft 2 Remaster may be coming soon as well. We're going to talk about the PlayStation 5 Pro review from GameSpot. They say the Pro review, powerful on paper, ordinary in action. So this is what we're going to be doing on today's show. If you like what I do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button. If you don't like it, hit that don't like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you want to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. What's going on, Eclipse? What's going on, Kuda Papa? Travis, Ron Slusher, El Dente, good morning, Magic Dolphin. How's everyone doing? Let's get... Can I just say, I know you guys don't want to talk about politics, and I'm not talking about politics, but let me tell you, Twitter is just full of gold. Full of gold. Whatever side you're on is just full of gold. It's just so much stuff happening, and people are not even up yet because they were up so late last night. They're waking up late this morning, so it hasn't even started yet. Roadkill says, I just had to say that won't say anything else. Well, what did you say? What did you say? Did you say something? I didn't even see it. I need a poll for the first story. Well, the first story is going to be Hogwarts Legacy. The first story is going to be. Because that's what I decided I wanted to talk about. I tried to find the video I talked about when Hogwarts Legacy came out originally. I had a video or a live show that I talked about, and I said that they could, because it was 100 years before, I was like, if the second one comes out, I said they could try to, like, connect it in some way, shape, or form to, like, the Harry Potter films. You know, try to promote it that way. And now, supposedly, that's what they're doing. They're connecting it. Warcraft 2 still holds up? Well, Warcraft 3 might be getting remastered, so... All right, let me lower the music. All right, so the first story, Hogwarts Legacy 2 in production at Warner Brothers Games. I don't think this is a shocker, right? When you sell something for 23 or 25 million copies as the #1 selling game of the year, you knew they were going into production. I'm pretty sure it went into production shortly after the first one came out and they sold so many, but they were concentrating on getting each version out, right? So they had the current gen, they went back to the old gen, then they also did the Nintendo Switch version later in the year. So now they're focusing on Hogwarts Legacy 2. So Hogwarts Legacy 2 is now in production at Warner Brothers Games, and the studio confirmed on Tuesday. The news comes from Variety. According to a report, the sequel to the best-selling game of 2023 is a very big priority. And for the Warner Brothers, as far as its focus on the next game, well, Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment president Dave Hayden says that it coordinated story elements with upcoming HBO series. Now, this is what I feel is a little interesting here, because you know how I always talk about when they do certain IPs and they can connect them to like movies or shows or whatnot. We talked about a lot like Marvel games, like when Marvel's Avengers was out. I was like, they should have connected like WandaVision and put WandaVision, and then, you know, like, well, when the show WandaVision came out, they could have put Wanda and Vision inside the game and so on, and cross promote and do all those types of things. Marvel Future Revolution sort of did that, but not really, right? They were just like, well, they did. Like, they had the, what was that? I can't think of the name. It bombed. Not the Shang-Chi. Well, Shang-Chi was there as well. They added characters. Eternals. The Eternals. Man, that tells you that it really made a mark on me. Yeah, the Eternals, okay, they came to Future Revolution as well. So now, what I find interesting here for Hogwarts Legacy is that the series that's coming on HBO is just a remake of the films, is it not? I could have sworn when they were talking about it, it was a remake of the movies, but in a series right? So I would say like book one, movie one will be a series on HBO, and they'll grow as they go. So now you're taking Hogwarts Legacy 2, which we know is 100 years before, the verse of Harry Potter. Now, if this is taking place, is it taking place 100 years later than Hogwarts Legacy? Or is it taking place, shortly before the Harry Potter series? Is there going to be small elements like the teacher's still there, or something happens in the game and then it connects to... Like, what type of stuff are they going to be doing connecting the stories from the video game to the actual TV series? Okay. It says, it notes that the success of Hogwarts Legacy helped stoke the confidence at the time was right to make a major Potter push. The rest of the company was also very curious about what would help to unlock the Hogwarts Legacy last year, the report reads. Now, the confirmation of the sequel being in production should come as no surprise to anyone. It's not. I mean, it literally sold 24 million copies. And it was also even called one of the biggest priorities by Warner Brothers Discovery CFO Gunnar Winfelds. When they made the comments in September, however, Winfelds also mentioned that it was also a couple of years down the road. So we're talking 2027, right? I don't think it needs a full 4 years because obviously they have the castle, they have the land, they can add another section, right? It looks fantastic as is. I don't think you have to change the graphics in any way to make it more high fidelity or anything like that. I think Hogwarts Legacy right now, you could just make Hogwarts Legacy 2, keep the same engine, keep the same look, keep the same everything, keep the same map. But how do you now keep it interesting where people that played Hogwarts now coming back, if you're the same character, or if you're a different character, got to make a different story, but how do you make it fresh? How do you make it go back through the castle, find the things again that you found in the first game, right? I'm going to take a little comparison here about Spider-Man 2018 and Spider-Man 2, right? So now you had Spider-Man, then you had Spider-Man Miles Morales, then you had Spider-Man 2. Well, they had to change Spider-Man 2 just a little bit because you had the same area, it's New York City, but they had to add the second island. So same thought process. I think Hogwarts Legacy 2 can keep the castle, keep the stuff, but they have to add something else. Now, we've talked about this when the game came out. Maybe they make one of the other schools, and it's like two separate areas that you can go to where you're still in Hogwarts, but you also get to go to other places to make it bigger. But these are just thoughts, right? So as far as the original Hogwarts Legacy game, there's still more to come. Inside Gamer first reported in October that the Defiant edition of the game was in development, and that will include an additional 10 to 15 hours of additional content, which is really good because we'll go back and play that. I had a blast playing that game. More of Hogwarts Legacy 2, or whatever the game will be named, will come out at a later date. So what do you think of Hogwarts Legacy 2 being in production? Where do you think they're going to go with it? How do you think they keep it fresh? Do you think they need to keep it much more different than the first game, or keep it close, keep it close to the chest and just kind of expand the lands that are already there? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in the live chat. What do you guys think? These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. What's going on, Rowick? What's going on, Big Mo? Lucas? It's supposed to be more accurate to the book. Sure, but it's still what I'm saying, though, Eclipse. How do you connect the game? There was that show, what was that show? Defiance? Is that what it was called? Not Defiance. It's a sci-fi thing. Yeah, it was Defiance, right? With a TV show, the game was Defiance, and and then they came out with Defiance 2050. Is that what it was called? Am I thinking of the right game? Defiance. Yes, Defiance, right? Okay. That was, based in San Francisco. The show was taking place in St. Louis or Missouri. Okay. So how is this game going to connect where this first game took 100 years? You're a fifth-year student. So now, are you coming back as the same character? I think it would be a big mistake if you're playing a completely different character. I do. I think if you could Mass Effect it, sort of, where you're the same character and now you're continuing on, and then you go into the next school, go have adventures in other school, or other parts of the, the realm of Harry Potter IP or whatever. I think they should keep it where it doesn't connect like 100% to the show, but it's just like little threads that go through. My character is probably in Azkaban for the amount of people I killed. I mean, let me ask you: do you want to start a new character, or would you like to continue that story with that? Now, obviously, they can make it Hogwarts 2 and make it a completely separate character in a completely separate space, and that could be interesting. But you got to be careful. You got to be careful when you're putting the thread through to connect it to the TV series. You know. Starting year 2 would be dope with the same character. Well, it would be year 6. And this is why we talked about it. I have plenty of videos of this stuff. We talked about it because you're a 5th-year student, Kylo, right? And we thought like the sequel would be year 6, and then the third game, because we're talking about trilogy, it would be year 5, 6, and 7, which would make sense. But that would still be like 100 years ahead, 99 years ahead, and 98 years ahead. Aldente says, well done. Don't care if it's the same 4 characters or if it's 4 new characters. Oh, I don't care about the people. Well, see, I still think it'd be better if you're connected. You could tell the stories with the characters that you've met new characters, old characters, go on adventures with them. Again, I'll do like a Mass Effect kind of example, right? I would rather take my character that I have in year 5, then do year 6 in the canon of the game and the books and the films. Okay, so you're a 5th-year student, but you come in, so you're not there for 4 years. You did the adventure that you did in Hogwarts Legacy. Now you do year 6. Then you do year 7 in Hogwarts 3. But while you're in year 6, you get to go on new adventures and new places. You meet new characters, new companions. You get to go on adventures with these companions. They have their own backstories, right? You're adding more story to the characters that you already met in Hogwarts Legacy 1. That's the way I think they should do it, instead of trying to connect it so much. And again, we don't know how much they're connecting it, instead of connecting it to the TV series. Travis says, the new character, but I think we should run into the previous character. You could import the old character. See, I would rather do like a Mass Effect, where you could be Shepard. If you start the game fresh, then it just gives you like a story, but if I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy, I personally want to play my old character and continue in canonical order. Canon order? Year 6. Year 2 for you, year 6 for the story. Eclipse says, yeah, I agree with 30. Unless they decide to do it like a live service thing. I think they should do the same character. Yeah, see, I'm not even throwing the live service thing in, which we talked about in the past, about saying that I think the game should be a live service, because I think you want to play with your friends and hang out inside Hogwarts. And like, Hogwarts should be like the Destiny Tower, right? Where it's a single player adventure that you go on, but when you're at Hogwarts Legacy, you could play games, hang out, see people's rooms, see their stuff that they're doing. Morning, Haley. I think that's what they should do. I think that's what they always should have done. Hogwarts grounds should have been like the tower in Destiny. So it's like light MMO. Like you want to go on an adventure, you come back, grab your friends, go on an adventure. Do it like Destiny, Dolphin says. Just wipe everything but your character. Well, I mean, I don't think you have to wipe everything, because you have your powers and stuff that you did in the first one. This is exactly why I think you should have the same character, right? Think about this. All the school learning that you did in year 5, you learned the spells and what you did not, right? And what not. Now year 6 starts, Hogwarts 2. Year 6 starts. Now you have either the same teachers, new teachers, giving you new courses, new adventures to go on, new spells. So not only do you know the old spells that you're doing, but now you have the new spells that you're doing as well, right? It just makes 100% sense. I don't want to start over with a new character with new abilities and new stuff where those are like gone. I would like to have my character with those abilities that I've put in, then have the new abilities, have new adventures, right? That makes sense. End of the day, matters is the writing. Well, the writing would be fantastic if they continued it from your adventures from your year 5 character to year 6 in the school year. I don't know how Hogwarts works. Is there gear and shit? Yeah, there's different levels of gear that you have, but you learn your spells from classes. Eclipse says exactly. I hate like God of War, Ragnarok. You're playing the same character, but you had to relearn everything, and I think it's lazy. Jedi Survivor did his best, in my opinion. Yeah. That's a great example, Eclipse. Jedi Fallen Order is a Survivor, right? Playing the same character, right? Obviously, it's not your custom guy's character because you're playing a character, right? You have this attachment now with Hogwarts Legacy that you created your character, okay? One, this does two things, in my opinion, okay? If a person's coming into Hogwarts Legacy 2 for the first time, they would go back and either play Hogwarts Legacy 1, that's more sales for them for that, and then they would go into Hogwarts Legacy 2. If they don't want to play Hogwarts Legacy 1, then they can just go into Hogwarts Legacy 2. It automatically gives you, like, what your character is and what the story was. It gives you, like, you know, what happened, okay? And then you play Hogwarts Legacy 2. It works both ways. Mo says, I have yet to see a Mass Effect style game since Mass Effect. Yeah. Well, Dragon Age is pretty close. You know what I mean? Mass Effect's great, though. You would need fresh start in terms of gameplay mechanics. I think they could fine tune the mechanics. Remember, I don't know if you remember, Jones, but when the game came out, we were worried about the combat in the game. When we first saw it, we're like, I don't know if the combat's going to be good. That was my biggest fear for the game. When the game came out, I was like, man, the combat feels fantastic when you're using the combat, okay? They can tune that, right? And then the mechanics are going to change anyway because you're going to have new spells. You're going to have new things to do and learn. So you would have a bigger amount of tools or repertoire to do, because now not only do you have I forget how many spells there were. I think it was like 10 or 12 spells. Now you're learning an additional 10 to 12 spells. So now you have like 20 spells that you can mix match to make your character and how you're learning and progressing as the character. Not only are you progressing as the gamer playing it because you're learning more stuff, but your character in the world has now expanded and learned more stuff in the game, and also keeping it with the story. If you're a Metroid fan, you know the struggle of how always losing your gear at the beginning. Yeah, I hated that in Destiny. I hated in Destiny 2 where you lose all your power, you lose all the stuff, and then you have to build it back up. I hated that, right? It worked for Destiny because that's what it was. It didn't work for me playing Destiny like that. I think that's one of the big things that kind of pulled me away. It shit on my time, right? It shit on my time and stuff, and Destiny loved to do that. Mass Effect I loved because it was my story with Shepard. And then from 1 to 2, it was my story. It took my time, right? It respected my time and brought it with me if I chose to. Bring it to Mass Effect 2, and then it did the same thing with 3. And that was my character, my story. I think Hogwarts Legacy should do the same type of thing. If they're going to bring you in overpowered, you're not overpowered. You're not overpowered. That's year 5 spells. Year 6, you're learning new spells. So you'll use your old spells in certain situations, but you have the new spells, which would do it for other things. You see what I'm saying? It literally goes with the school year. as it did. Monster Hunter is weird. You always start back at the square one. They want it that way. Each game, yes, replay, but it's also a new era, new rules. Yeah, but you're missing a huge point, Travis. The story of Hogwarts Legacy, you're a year 5 student. You skipped the first 4 years. You came in year 5. They rushed you through, gave you all the powers as a brand new student. You still have more to learn about your story as that character of why. Okay? And going into the next year, Hogwarts 2, year 6 of your development as a Hogwarts student, it works. This is not a God of War. This is not a Destiny. This is not a Jedi Survivor. This is specifically to the Hogwarts lore, the Harry Potter lore, right? Like you're playing a character in school. There's 7 years. They skipped 4. It makes sense 5, 6, and 7 to continue your story. I don't know. I think they can do something special if they keep it. If they don't, it just kind of feels like, I don't know. I feel like if you come back with a brand new character and they don't let you continue your story, I feel like they're cashing in on just the amount of popularity for it and not that it was a really good game and let you continue your story to make it even a better game. You would have, I'll put it out there. I know a lot of people are divisive that they didn't like it because of what the creator of Harry Potter said, right? But the game itself is a good game, and I think, like a Mass Effect, I'll go and put this on the light, right? This is my prediction. If Hogwarts comes out and they do it like a Mass Effect, we talk about Mass Effect all the time because of how awesome it is, and the reason it's awesome is because they connect the stories. The writing was fantastic. The storytelling was fantastic. The bond that you had with your crew was fantastic. The gameplay was okay in 1, really good in 2, and the story and the gameplay was better in 3, but the story wasn't as good, right? 2 was like the master of the 3. Hogwarts Legacy 2 could have the exact same type of feel, right? Where Hogwarts Legacy 1, people be like, it was okay. They can add to it. They can add to it, make it a little bit better than the last one with the mechanics and different things that maybe they missed in the first game. And Hogwarts Legacy 2 could be this like beacon of like, this is a much better game than Hogwarts 1, and you're continuing the story. And then obviously if they have Hogwarts Legacy 3, years down the line, you could be like, man, Hogwarts is up there in a series like a Mass Effect, like a Batman Arkham series. You know what I mean? Where the 3 sit across, and you're like, man, that was like a really good series. Alice says, how well did they how well they did with the game? They had the option to continue your story. I think it'd be dumb if they didn't make you continue your story. Well, Jones, they would have to fundamentally let you relearn the abilities from the last one, because if you never played the first game, they would have to teach the people that are coming into Hogwarts Legacy 2 how to use those old spells plus the new spells. Just by nature. You're like, I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy 2 for the first time, never played the first one. Now you have to learn 20 spells instead of the 10 new spells. But at the same accord, if you're playing Hogwarts Legacy 2 and you played Hogwarts 1, you have to relearn the spells anyway because you probably forgot how to play the fucking game. John says they could have do a thing where you start off with all your spells, but then they make you forget. No, I don't want to do that shit. That's a Destiny thing. That's a Destiny thing, right? Oh, he's got amnesia and he's got to learn it all over again. No. That's worse than wasting my time and respecting my time, right? You're not respecting my time. You're literally say, fuck your time. You got to relearn the stuff. I'll push back on that. No. You literally shit on person's time then. Eclipse says, yeah, the story, you don't meet your full potential. So that would be awesome if you got to do that and meet your full potential. Right. Because you really still don't know why you are like the chosen one 100 years before the chosen one. right? You're like your character story is a completely different landscape of what Harry Potter's story is. Right? Plus you could probably meet certain characters that become villains. Because you could be in school with certain characters that you meet in year 6. Okay? That you didn't meet in year 5. That you meet them and then down the road they become the villains in Harry Potter series or something. And that could be the thread that they pull through. I think we're assuming it continues from what they go further back in time. I think it'd be dumb if they go further back in time and also connect it to the HBO series. I think that would be dumb. What are examples of where you got to keep most of your things from the prequel? I don't think there's really many. I think this is why Hogwarts could stand out. Yeah, like what Clips is saying, the Jedi is the one that can come that comes to mind, and that's fantastic, right? Because you have attachment to that character. Now the difference is between Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order, or Fallen Order and Survivor, and Hogwarts Legacy is that we didn't customize our character in Jedi Survivor. We customized our character in Hogwarts Legacy. That's your character, which I feel people have more of a connection to. Travis, it's real easy. You go on the computer, which you're on right now. You go to the thing called Google. You type it in, and then you'll get your answer. Arkham City, Batman keeps all the gadgets. He got an asylum. There you go. Right, he didn't have to relearn them. Right? So, I feel like this should be a huge win, right? This could be a huge win if they do it correctly. I feel like if they go the route of you lose everything, you start over, or they change the character completely, and now you're a new character in a new story, I feel like that's a mistake as well. Not to say it's a bad thing, because if they do make you a new character, maybe you're another student from another whatever, cool, right? Maybe you're playing a completely different character in a completely different school, right? That could be a thing as well, right? You're not even playing your character anymore, right? Maybe you're on a foreign exchange program and you get changed from Hogwarts and you go over to one of the other Ministry of Schools, right? And you go over there and it's a completely different experience. Maybe you start a brand new character, but I feel because of the way they built Hogwarts, the way the world is, the way you build up your character, the way you learn, you're going through school, I think it'd be a big mistake if they did any of the other things. Again, these are my thoughts. You're on your phone? Well, your phone does multiple things. All right. Let's go to story number 2. It's got two different articles. Might be 3. But it all has to do with the same thing. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you'd like to go above and beyond that. Become a member. All right. Go with Nintendo Switch Online Dataminer discovers 4K resolution option and supports for mesh shaders. Okay. Uh-oh. 4K resolution. Right, these are my thoughts. It is claimed. So, if you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. We just cover news stories, have conversations, give you my thoughts and opinions. If you like it, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as low as $5. What's going on, PS5 blows? Nintendo Switch Online Dataminer discovers 4K resolution option and supports for mesh shaders. Okay, Dataminer and social media platform Blue Skies has discovered that the latest version of Nintendo Switch Online playtest program has added support for both mesh shaders and 4K resolution. This discovery is inevitably led to speculation about the next console from Nintendo, which is set to be revealed sometime this fiscal year, which ends on 31st of March. Excuse me, 31st of March. Okay. That's it. Okay. So it says, me when the G3D2 version of the NSO playtest software added support for the console without mesh shaders. He says, while data mining the playtest program, and I can't read that, so but that's what it says. So there's that one story. And then on top of that, Nintendo Switch 2 will officially be a backwards compatible with the original Switch games. Now there was a hold on one second, because we did have a tweet. I think it was this one. Yeah. It was this one. Where Robert Sorrento here, he posted this last year, October 15th, 2023. He said, new Nintendo Switch 2 will have backwards compatibility only with digital games downloaded via Nintendo Shop. Okay, the new cartridge slot should only accept titles from the new console. That was his claim last year. Now, here he says, last year I said the successor of Nintendo Switch will have backwards compatibility only by downloading digital games. Okay, but the president came out last night, and a recent update suggests that also cartridge slot with or without new accessory. Okay, so that we go to this from IGN. Nintendo Switch 2 will officially be a backwards compatibility with original Switch games. So we talked about this months and months and months and months ago, probably last year, okay, where we talked about, are they going to keep the proprietary card slot for the next Switch? And I said, I hope so. I said I would be super pissed off if I bought all those games for the Switch and then all of a sudden they got rid of it, right? Now, obviously, it wouldn't be any kind of different because this is what they've done every Nintendo cycle. NES to Super NES to the 64 to the GameCube to everything was always different, right? So, obviously, Nintendo sees that they don't want to dick over everybody, right? They want to keep people happy. So it would make sense that you could have not only digitally, because you downloaded it digitally, but you could also get the physical copies. And maybe there's two slots. Maybe it's sort of like, again, I don't know. I'm speculating here. Maybe, you know, like the old cameras before we had all these smartphones and whatnot. Old cameras used to have a little ability where you flip it open, and it would have a bigger, slot for SSDs and a smaller one for micro SSDs and so on and so forth. So maybe Nintendo does this on purpose where you can use your old cards, but the new cards that they create for the new system are a different size in some way, shape, or form. So you have to, for whatever reason, right? Maybe they're doing both. So let's read on. Okay, Nintendo has confirmed and yet to be announced, Switch 2 will also be backwards compatible with the original Switch games and will feature Nintendo Switch Online. Nintendo president shared news during the company's corporate management policy briefing, revealing a bit more about the successor of the 2017 Nintendo Switch. Nintendo wrote on Twitter, or X, at today's corporate management policy briefing, we announced that Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor of Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor to Nintendo Switch as well. Further information about the successor to Nintendo Switch, including its capability with compatibility with Nintendo Switch, will be announced at a later date. It says, we have a ton left to learn about this Switch, but we're also still waiting for its actual announcement, and Nintendo has previously said it will happen by March of 2025. So, what do you guys think about the Nintendo doing this, where I think it's a huge win if they let you do, obviously. The digital should be no-brainer. The physical, though, right, I think is a bigger win here for people that like to buy the cards, like to have the stuff, and then now you can insert it. Where they're not going, you could buy the external drive afterwards, right? They put it into the actual new system, and it's backwards compatible. And doing that ensures a lot of people going, well, maybe they're trying to drive, Krebsy said this last night, maybe they're trying to drive up the price of people are still not buying the Switch as much because they're trying to beat the PlayStation, was it 4 in the best selling market or whatever. So maybe they're trying to tell people, look, keep going to buy the Switch because your games are going to work with the next Switch too. 100%. right? But I think a lot of people go, oh, great. I can continue buying games now for my Nintendo Switch because they will work with the new Nintendo Switch. Because a lot of people kind of hold off. They pull the brake a little bit saying, well, there's rumors of a new Nintendo Switch coming out. I'm going to stop buying Nintendo Switch games right now because the new one comes out and I don't want to be able not to play those in like 6 months to a year. So be very interested to see what happens if that's the gameplay here, if it continues the sales of Nintendo Switch, because I really think Nintendo wants that title of the #1 selling console of all time, which I think they will get, by the way. So we'll see what happens there. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. What do you make of the Switch or Nintendo keeping where other past Nintendos did not go backwards compatible? What do you make of this? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Does the PlayStation 5 Pro have mesh shaders? I don't know. We have a review that we're going to read a little bit later, which I know nothing. I know nothing of the specs because Kuda Papa asked me, did I see the specs? I wasn't paying attention to the specs or anything like that. So I just saw right before we went live that GameSpot had a review because the embargo lifted. So we'll talk about that. Jason says, "Great move, Nintendo." Yeah, I think it's very smart. I still think they can go with a new proprietary disc, cartridge, whatever. Maybe it's a fatter, like I said, maybe it's a fatter game because there's more information on it now. But the old ones still slide in the same slot. That'd be cool. Eclipse says, well, I think we'll do what they did with the 3DS and the DS. They made the cartridge a little different, so you couldn't use them in the DS, but you could use it in the vice versa. Right. That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah, so it's just a little different. Like, I'm trying to think. No, see this camera that I have only has the one slot there, but most cameras they had the two slots where same slot, just one filled the smaller section and so on. Travis says, I just hope that Legends of Zelda isn't exclusive to the Switch 2. What do you... Oh, Legends of Za? Are you talking about Zelda? Is that what you're saying? Or is it a game called Za? I don't know. Exclusive to the Switch 2? It probably will. 100%. They want you to buy the new system. Robert Jones says, backwards compatibility is a win. World says, hello, fellow humans. Hello. How are you? Oh, he's talking about Pokemon Legends of Za. Got you. Yeah, I guarantee you they'll make it exclusive for the new Nintendo Switch. Is there a game they've ever done where it came out, I guess they did, for the new system and the old system? Yeah, the backwards compatibility, look, especially in this gaming era, is very important for gamers, right? We were just talking about, think about this. I was just talking about Hogwarts Legacy and how it's very important to respect people's time and letting you continue that character if they make a Hogwarts Legacy 2 and it's not a new character you're playing. It's your old character, right? You're just respecting the person's time. This is tenfold when it comes to people buying your stuff now in games. Like, I bought your system, I bought your games, I did all this stuff. Now you want me to get a new system, but I won't play my old games because they're not backwards compatible. If you respect the gamer's time, where they bought all your games and they can still use them, they'll be more inclined to go, okay, I'll trade in my old system and get your new system, which is it's a win for the companies because now you're moving the ecosystem. Not only are you moving, unless you're a collector, you want to keep your old system, but you could move, okay? This is why I was okay going with the Xbox Series, right, with the Series S or X, because I could play my old games on there as well. Because I wasn't losing something. I was gaining. And I could play my old games, right? So if the Switch says, hey, you can play your old Switch games digitally and physical, that's a huge win because they'll be like, okay, I will trade this in, get the new system. Now I'm in your new ecosystem. I can play my old stuff and I can play your new stuff. It's a win all around. Zelda Twilight Princess came out in GameCube and the Wii. Yeah, but you couldn't backwards compatible that. You know what I'm saying? It's completely two different. But yeah, so if you had an old system, you could enjoy the new game. That makes sense. Breath of the Wild also came out on the Wii U and the Switch. A lot of the Wii U were cross-gen, I think. But that was also the same thing, right? The Wii U took the exact same CDs as the Wii. Did it not? The Wii U, I don't really think it was like a new system. The Wii U to me was like the PlayStation 5 to PlayStation 5 Pro a little bit. You know what I mean? Nope, the Wii was BC with GameCube, remember? It had the slots, got the GC controllers. Oh, that's right. I was asking if the disc worked backwards, but I thought about it when I asked the question, Jones. Like, obviously, like God of War, when the God of War came out, it was on PlayStation 5 and 4, right? I get that. So like they sell it to the old one. I was thinking of like if they sold a new game, it wouldn't work on the older system. They would just sell a separate. When I asked it, I kind of answered my own question. I'm sleep deprived. The GameCube is great. Not a very good design of a system, Akuta Papa, but I did like it. I mean, it really is just like a half of an Xbox. It's actually a little smaller than, not as wide. So you didn't drop it because you would take it with you. You never left. You never brought it with you to a friend's house. Why, it had a handle, so you didn't drop it. Yeah, me too, Argus. I was up until like 3:30, 3:45. And then I fell asleep. And then my wife wakes me up at 6 o'clock this morning saying our son's not going to school today. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was up. So I'm running on like 2 hours and like 45 minutes of sleep. GameCube was my favorite system. So many great games. I don't say it's my favorite system. I think my favorite Nintendo system would probably be the Super NES. I think that's my favorite one. See, I never bought the cube myself. My wife had a cube. So when we got married, now we own a cube. In proxy. I never bought the cube. Oh, no. They have school, Sarge. He's sick. Yeah, he's sick. He had a temperature this morning. Good Papa says 30. The next gen Tegra chips that's rumored in the Switch will be using and also is amazing. They're also using either an RTX 3 XXX or an RTX 4 XXX architecture, supposedly. I appreciate that, Argus. He's fine. He's playing. He's got a congested face, right? So he's got, he's like sniffing and stuff. But he's sitting in the living room right now playing some Forza Horizon 5. They just put right before he started stream. He's like, Dad, they put the Rivian in. He's got the electric car, the Rivian that was in the game, and he got a free gift inside the game where they gave him the, I don't know what it's called, the season, not the season pass. There's like some sort of package that he got, and they gave him the Rivian car. So he's like super excited. So right now he's just playing Horizon 5. The clip says, my mom got me the cube for my birthday, and of course she didn't buy memory card, so I had to keep Smash Brothers on for a while until I got a memory card. Oh God, I remember back in the day on the original Nintendo, before there was like save files and anything like that. If you shut it off, that was it. You had to start over. So we would leave it on, and we would move our Nintendo off to the side, and we would tell our mom, please do not touch the Nintendo. Leave the red light on. She's like, okay, fine. Yeah, she would just, and sometimes she would knock it, or it would get turned off, or they're like, nah, right? That's the reason you stopped playing Nintendo and didn't beat Mario, because by accident you would like shut it off or something. You would leave it on all day. Come back from school and continue. Travis says, 30, man, what happened? It used to be I stayed up till 4 and no problem. Now 10 rolls around. I need a bed. I mean, I'm fine. I function off of, little amounts of sleep. A little sluggish. But for the most part, I'm good. I got up like this. Like taking a nap. I'll probably fall out around like 4 o'clock this afternoon. I'll probably take another nap. Naps are great. Something I wish I kept from like my, from like 12 to like 36. Wish I took naps between that time. Never did. Once my son was born, and anytime he went to sleep, I was like, oh, I'm going to take a nap. Brilliant. Naps are great. Argus says, I'm jealous of him. Just getting to stay home and play games. Yeah, I said to him, you picked the wrong week. Because he's super excited about Microsoft. Oh, by the way, we're going down a rabbit hole.
Oh, where I land, I do not know. But here I fall down the rabbit's hole.
All right, so he wants to play Microsoft Flight Sim, the new one, 2024. And 2024 comes out next week, I think. Okay. And because he's sick this week, I said, "Oh boy, you picked the wrong week to get sick, my friend." I was like, "You could have got sick next week, and you could have been home the entire day playing Microsoft Flight Sim." Here we go. Wrong week. Wrong week. World says, my worst memory of NES was accidentally saving over my file of Final Fantasy, where they also had the end of the game. Gave up, said fuck it. Yeah, that'll do it to you. That'll do it to you. I've done that on PlayStation so many times. I would save over my save file. I was like, oh! I was like, no! I was like, oh God! I was so upset. Kudapapa says, I can function on 4 hours of sleep in a pinch. I can stay up 40 hours while being active and keeping... I don't want to stay up anymore. I remember we tried to do... Actually, we didn't even try. When I was on Twitch back in the day, I was like 36, 37. I was like, oh, we're going to do a 24-hour stream. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I think I did 12. I was like, this is stupid. I was like, I'm going to sleep. Because you're just wrecked afterwards. I was like, I can't do shit like that. What is that emoji? That's Alice in Wonderland going down a hole. Going down the rabbit hole. Oh my god. Could you imagine, Argus? If there was no saves today, and you're playing fucking like Starfield or Skyrim, and you can't save, people would lose... Game sales would dramatically drop because no one would buy a game. They're like, oh, this is a 100-hour game and there's no saves. Be like, the fuck? Could you imagine? Robert Jones says, running on low sleep is not a virtue. Y'all need to take your asses to bed. Yeah, like I'm tired. I'm like, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to sleep. Last night was different. Last night was different, Jones. I usually don't stay up. I'm usually up till about 1:30, and I wake up around like 6:30. Last night, 3:45, and I'm like, now I'm past the point of tired, and I get like a second wind. Right, Mo. I don't want to stay up like that anymore. Travis says, what about Planet Coaster 2? What about it? I don't know if I'm going to pick it up yet. My wife thinks I'm weird, and then I go to bed at 9 sometimes. I was just going to say, Mo, but you're up late, but you're in California. That's why you're up. So when I'm streaming, like, I could be up until 11, and you're not in bed yet. That makes sense. Yeah, it's a moment in time. You know, Argus? It's a moment in time. It was interesting watching stuff. I was watching a lot of different coverage from different people after I got off stream. I think y'all need to do a Planet Coaster 2 stream. Make a Star Wars park that actually good. The problem, if I play Planet Coaster 2, I won't make a park on stream. I'll do like the campaign stuff. Because the reason, Travis, if I make my park, I can spend 5 hours just decorating the fucking entrance to the park. You know what I mean? Like, I will spend so much detail on the thing, which is good if I'm doing like a playthrough. Right? Like this playthrough, we're just making the entrance. Next playthrough, we're making this ride. And we make it super directed. And then over the course of the time, it looks cool. But if I'm on a 3-hour stream and I'm doing one thing and I never do it again, it's just stupid. I'd rather just do a campaign mission on Planet Coaster 2 then. Oh, yeah, no, Jones, I don't do that every night. Are you kidding me? No. I get bogged down. Like, it's funny. My wife, I love driving, right? I love driving. We're still down the rabbit hole, guys. I love driving, right? We usually leave at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon to get down South Florida. It takes like 3 hours to get there, right? Around 3:30, 4 o'clock, okay, I get super tired. Like, my eyes are just, I'm like, I can't do it. I was like, we got to pull over. I'll pull over. And she's like, she just looks at me like, really? Like, we only have like 13 more miles. I'm like, I don't care. I was like, you need to drive. And I'll go, we switch seats, and I'm out. And then we get to the house, which is like maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes later. And then I get up, and she's like, How did you just pass out? Like, I didn't even like it's like a breathe. I'm like, all right, I'm done, and I'm out. I go into REM completely, super fast. She hates it. She hates it. But then also when I sleep for 15 minutes, I'm ready to go, and I can go another 20 hours. Let's go on, Sin. Yeah, my battery is dead. I'm like, when I say I'm tired and we need to switch, we need to switch. The roguelike turtle game comes out today. I hope it's not too much money. I kind of want it. I have it for the Switch. I might pick it up again for the other console. If it's like $30, I'll pick it up. $5 of it, 5 hours of TCG. Yeah, but TCG is you're constantly moving, right? It's different. Where if I'm doing just decorations, you're not really progressing anything. In TCG, I'm progressing day after day after day after day. In Planet Coaster, I'm just sitting there decorating the thing. They'll be like, "Oh, what are you guys playing?" "Oh, I'm playing Planet Coaster." "Oh, let me see your park." "Oh, I don't have a park yet." But it says you have 30 hours of playtime. I know. Did you see my entrance? Beautiful, isn't it? Pass out quick. Take like 20-minute wake up, feeling fresh. Oh yeah, I feel. I could fall asleep right now. I could close my eyes right now, pass out standing up, wake up 30 seconds later and ready to go. I'm taking small naps every time I blink. That's what I'm doing. All right, we got the Nintendo done. Got next story. Next story. Got another remaster in the works. It's claimed. It's claimed. You guys like what I do? We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We just talk about gaming news and have conversations about it. If you like it, hit that like button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. No. Did I say that right? I don't think I said that correctly. Let's go above and beyond that, become a member. I missed the subscribe button. That's the sleep stuff. All right. Anyway. So, rumor, Warcraft 2 Remaster may be coming soon, it's claimed. Okay. So, leaked images from Blizzard seamlessly suggest that the remaster version of Warcraft 2 is in the works, and it leaks provide true that Warcraft 2 Remaster would be announced at the upcoming Did I say Warcraft 3? I said Warcraft 2, right? Warcraft 2 Remaster could be announced at the upcoming Warcraft Direct Showcase coming out November 13th. November 15th marks the 30th anniversary of Warcraft franchise. To celebrate, Blizzard is holding on tons of collaboration events across various games, as well as the Warcraft Direct presentation on November 13th. What's more, between the new World of Warcraft amount bundle and trading post rewards, Warcraft 3 inspired art on Warcraft Direct key art, and a brief update of the internal PTR catalog, evidence suggests that something big is in store for Warcraft 3 Reforged. Okay, so now new evidence suggests that more exciting news for Warcraft RTS fans, but it's time. It isn't about the Warcraft 3. Several new promotional images recently appeared on Battle.net under the heading of Warcraft 2 Remastered Internal Alpha, discovered by renowned Blizzard Dataminer, Stefan. Also, an image depicted and sailing the Alliance vessel against the orcish grunts wearing Warcraft 2 style armor. Compete with multiple logos and perfectly matched modern Blizzard style. Okay, so there you go. There's Warcraft 2 Tides of the Two Darkness. Okay. Thought part of Warcraft 2 can also be played in Warcraft 3 Reforged thanks to the fans' campaign. An official remaster is an existing prospect, and a leak verified. Okay, two other credible sources within the Warcraft community, with also alpha publicly visible on the Blizz tracker. Okay, was also isn't technically a confirmation by Blizzard itself between the quality of the leaked images and the multiple origins of verification. The alpha build seems extremely likely the announcement of Warcraft 2 Remaster is imminent. Okay, judging from the name of Warcraft 2 Remaster, will likely not be a full remake of the original RTS, but rather a version to improve the graphics and optimization for the modern PC. Looking at the Blizzard's data with Diablo 2, Resurrected, and StarCraft Remaster, the core of the game will likely be unchanged, though it's included modern accessibility options, conveniences, and audio and visual upgrades. Now, if Warcraft 2 Remastered is real, it will most likely certainly be announced at Warcraft Direct, which takes place on November 13th. It is possible potential projects could be leaked to whatever might also be happening with Warcraft 3 Reforged as well, though it remains to be seen if it's the case right now. Either way, fans of Warcraft franchise are eager to learn if this leak is real. Also, apprehensive considering how much disappointment Warcraft 3 Reforged was to many players. Now, with this Direct, obviously I think this is going to happen with Warcraft 2 Remastered. Like, why not? I don't know if... I've been saying for the longest time that they're going to take World of Warcraft and bring it to Game Pass. Now, I don't know if they're doing that with this particular Direct. But I do think that's going to be coming sooner rather than later. I think it's going to happen, is basically what I'm saying. I think with Game Pass, as StarCraft just came to PC Game Pass and stuff like that, more of those things will come, and it will be a huge, huge thing when the day comes when Warcraft, either Warcraft 3 and these types of games come to PC Game Pass, and then when World of Warcraft itself comes to Game Pass. Now, they have been working in the back behind the scenes with controller support. A lot of people are saying, oh, you can't have an MMO with controller support. Let me introduce you to many, many other games that are MMOs with controller support that are already out there. All right, we've played Lost Ark, we've played Thrones and Liberty, we've played Elder Scrolls Online, I played like 5 or 6 different New World, played like 5 or 6 different things with controller support, the way you can, go through the different bars and whatnot. So that's not an excuse anymore, right? So I think this is just one of the, steps moving forward, remastering the old games, get it back into the market for new people to see. I'm not a big fan of stuff like this, but obviously Microsoft owns them now, and they would like to kind of revive and put this out there so more people could potentially get the Game Pass down the line. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think of Warcraft 2 Remaster maybe coming? Are you excited about this? I know some of you want to see other ones. Starfield, or StarCraft, sorry, not Starfield. StarCraft just came out on the PC market place as well, 1 and 2, I believe, on the PC Game Pass. So let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Robert Jones says, I've been playing Warcraft 2 for about a week ago. Gameplay is still very solid. That's because back then they made games. Just update the cutscenes and maybe some UI. Don't change shit. Yeah, I don't think they have to change it. Just remaster it. Just remaster it. Bring it up to graphical standards, I guess, as much as you can. Right, New World, Final Fantasy 14. There's so many games that you can use controller now. I don't know if we get... I know it's about Warcraft 2, but I don't know if we get at the Direct. Do you think they mentioned that they're working on it? Or do you think they don't say anything until they actually have something? They announce it sometime like E3. Well, I say E3, or Summer Game Fest next year. Or do they announce it in February for their show to come out later in the year? I played the shit out of Warcraft, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, StarCraft. I love those types of games back in the day. Loved them. Warcraft 1 is almost unplayable. I remember back in like 90, was it 90, 98, 99? When did Warcraft come out? I remember playing it at the dorms. Was it 2001? No, Warcraft, Orcs, and Humans. 1994. Yeah, I remember like 97, 90. It was 97 because my friend was already in college before. He was 1 year older than me. And we would drive up to Gainesville. And we just played a shit ton of this. We played so much Warcraft and Warcraft 2. It's almost unplayable. Why? What makes it almost unplayable? Just because of the graphics and you're just like, I can't look at it? Or the game mechanics? Yeah, no, I think right now, I think you can. I don't know if it's official yet. I know it's coming out this month. I don't know if you can actually play games yet. Altern. You can buy Microsoft games on the iPhone, but not directly from the Xbox app on iOS. They had something back in May 10th saying about it, but I don't know if they added it yet. Did they? Like the whole thing. UI, unit section, issuing commands. It's just completely outdated, right? I mean, it is, what, 30 years old? That's nuts. That's nuts to think that game's 30 years old. And you think about it, if you break it down like in the 10-year increments, like 1 through 10, you see how the graphical improvements, and then you look from like 11 through 20 and the graphical improvements, and then you look from 21 to 30 and you're like, holy shit. Like their Warcraft game that they have on the mobile phone is 1,000 times better looking than what Warcraft 1 was. Was it battle something? Buying isn't added yet. They said November, but not sure when. Yeah, I know it's coming out. Maybe they'll announce it on November 13th. Who knows? John says, I was going to play it through all the campaigns, and after 2 missions, like, nope, I'm out. Out. Is this a new article? This is a new one. This is Assassin's Creed. Yeah, November 4th. Let's go with the PlayStation 5. All right, the next story. You guys like what I do here? We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. And those of you who are watching right now, I do this just in case I make these breakout videos that it already explains everything. So when the video starts, so that's why I do this before every article. So, if you guys like what I do here, I do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We just cover news stories, have conversations. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. All right, so PlayStation 5 Pro review, powerful on paper, but ordinary in action. So GameSpot may receive revenue from affiliates advertising. Okay, great. Okay, so when PlayStation when PlayStation 5 debuted in November of 2020, Sony made a compelling case for picking one up in addition to simply being a new shiny new console. The value proposition as presented was largely in the games available at launch, the selection including a variety of third-party titles, but importantly, multiple first-party titles that served an excellent showcase for power of the newly available PlayStation 5. In 2024, in 2024, playing Spider-Man Miles Morales on the original PlayStation 5 executed the pun of visual marvel, steering Miles Morales through the vast and vibrant cityscapes as through the air and plunges towards the ground just before effortlessly launching himself back up into the sky and slip between the towering buildings remains exhilarating thrill. Back when it was also released, however, it was spectacular, especially with the quick loading times, and felt like a major distinguished factor. Okay, for my money, the Blue Point's Demon's Souls remake remains the most visually impressive game on the PlayStation 5, and use of light art direction capture the mood of the game beloved, or its unsettling sense of tension, atmospheric world, and testament to the Blue Point's effort of it holds up so well 4 years later, and shows that if even now that the PlayStation 5 the game can remain impressive. Fucking 4 years, it's the same console. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, I can go back and play Star Wars Battlefront 1 or 2, and it looks still visually stunning. That game looks more visually stunning than most games that are out today. That's a 7 to 8 year old game. Experiences like this, or also empathetic validation of the PlayStation 5, was worth the asking price, and the future of gaming on the platform had exciting potential. These games had few others, proved beyond any doubt that Sony's console represented a generational leap worth taking. Now, the PlayStation 5 Pro is the second iteration of the console, and though Sony hopes both new customers and existing PlayStation 5 owners might find a place for it in their homes, the mid-cycle upgrade is fitted to features that aimed at a much more niche market. For either group to make the transition, then, the PlayStation 5 Pro needs to clear the same value proposition checks as the original console, and it faces a higher bar given the price tag and the lack of exclusive games compared to the original PlayStation 5, right? And that's a good point to make there. Excuse me. That's a good point to make, because when the PlayStation 5 first came out, you had the vision of all the games that could be coming or are coming to the PlayStation 5. So you had some sort of substance there to go, if I buy this, these are the games. But right now, you're in the cycle, and you're looking at it going, well, what games are coming? I know the games that are now being upgraded and visually stunning for the PlayStation 5, but why am I going to pick this up? What games are you showing me? And they haven't done that, right? So PlayStation 5 Pro is a more powerful piece of hardware that physically looks largely the same as already available models. And so, like the most iterative tech, steep asking price, it needs to communicate the advantages clearly, compelling, okay? Though it is also capable of technology improving gaming experience without the brand new games to shine a spotlight to advantage of having the PlayStation 5 Pro, tangible benefits are much harder to grasp on the average person. They may also not be enough of a differential to get the target demographic to part with their cash. So for the sake of transparency, this review is coming from a perspective of someone who has all the versions of PlayStation 5, as well as the very powerful gaming PC in both Xbox Series X and S. In many ways, I'm the target audience for the Pro, but like most people who also consider this purchase, I'm the average person with the intermediate understanding of technologies of the hardware and also capabilities. If you're looking for precise frame data in-depth exploration of artificial intelligence-enabled resolution upscaling, this isn't where you'll find it. Head over to Digital Foundry's crew for that. The most mythological as the most capable of the best positioned to employ is a naked eye test. All the comparisons it says I am making are based off of those close inspections of the games being displayed on the LG 55-inch OLED TV, which supports 4K 120 Hz and VRR. But the naked eye test, in my opinion, is appropriate for the question I'm trying to answer. Should an average person with an interest in playing games buy or upgrade a PlayStation 5 Pro? And the answer to that is, as you can probably guess, complicated. Okay, so it's not just as easy to say yes, right? If you put these two things next to each other, is it worth your time and money to do this? So let's dive a little deeper. He says, familiar design. Let's start off with the most inconsequential part of the PlayStation 5 Pro changes, the aesthetics from form factor. The PlayStation 5 Pro doesn't come with a disc drive, okay, which means that the digital-only console by default, in terms of form of factor, it's also much smaller footprint, and it's also closer to the PlayStation 5 Slim than the clunkier original version. Though it still takes up roughly the same space due to the stand and the launch of the PlayStation 5 stand will not work on the Pro, which is also as little sneaky little bitches, right? Right? You have a stand, but it doesn't work with the new Pro. Okay. So while the PlayStation 5 Slim features a glossy finish outside panels, unless you attach the disc drive, which is matted, the Pro also has the same matte finish and launch of the PlayStation 5. It also a little taller than the previous models. Overall, it has a slicker look and profile. The most notable cosmetic changes, however, are the vents striped across both sides of the console. Their intended function is to help ventilation of the cooling, especially since the Pro has more powerful graphics processing units, and will also work as a little harder to pump out those crisp 4K visuals. However, also a nice aesthetic also impact the same way as putting the racing stripes on a pretty much of any car makes it automatically look cooler. I've never had an issue with the design of the PlayStation 5. It was the fan flaring collars have also appreciate the thinner look of the Slim, and the Pro has also originally designed the slimness to it and faster because of the racing stripe. Okay, as previously mentioned, the thinner form factor is enabled it by having a disc drive, which means that you also have to build up a physical media collection, be it the games or movies that you tend to utilize. You also need to spend more money to make it possible. At $700, the Pro has a steep asking price, and while a digital delivery might also be more commonplace these days for the average consumer being able to put the game's disc into the console, it's also an important feature to additionally the power user, who are also likely to consider upgrading, probably have an extensive library of physical PlayStation 4 games. While the absence of the disc drive might not be a deal breaker for some, it's a basic video game console function missing from one of the highest prices I've seen to date. It's a decision that potentially leaves the most hardcore PlayStation fans in an awkward spot where they have to choose between leaving physical media behind or paying extra to retain that support. You'll also have to spend extra to get the vertical stand if you don't already have one for the PlayStation 5 Slim. While the PlayStation 5 Pro is also missing the basic functions, it also gains impressive new ones. When the console was revealed, Mark Cerny somewhat uncharacteristically kept a pitch very simple and digestible. He said that the Pro allows players to play their games with a higher frame rate and stability of performance modes, while they also have higher graphical quality and fidelity mode. This is enabled by 3 key features of the new PlayStation 5 Pro, and the first upgrade of the GPU, which is also through combination of more compute units of the faster memory. Allows games to also render quicker, and the second most powerful ray tracing capabilities allow developers to implement more realistic lighting and fewer compromises. Okay, and finally, the PlayStation 5 Pro is capable of AI-driven upscaling through PlayStation's Spectator Super Resolution, okay, also known as PISR, okay? So that uses machine learning to sharpen the images and make them more clear. If you're familiar with the PC gaming, it's kind of like the XESS or the DLSS, but on console, which is an impressive thing to pull off. The big three, Cerny calls for the foundation for the console gaming experience that unravels from the visual performance perspective and closes the gap between console and PC a bit more, and extinguishes a set of features that also undoubtedly elevated the game's test on the PlayStation 5 Pro, but as dramatic as I expected, but not as dramatically as I expected. Okay, so both paragraphs the guy's talking about so far, like nothing, it's not keen to the eye. He says at the end of this next paragraph, he says it's dramatically, it's not as dramatic as he expected. And we were talking about this. Yeah, Hogwarts was in the beginning. Sweet. So it's not as dramatic as you expected. And again, if you don't know what you're looking for, you probably won't even notice it. This is basically what's happening here, right? The difference in games. Okay, he says my first stop was naturally Demon's Souls, which also been updated to offer a PlayStation 5 Pro setting and visual mode options. In this game, it's promised to unify the higher frame rate. Okay, perform more with the visual details of cinematic mode is also full display. It's also a standard cinematic mode is also sluggish to the character's movement and choppiness to the camera movement, but there's also a clear improvement to the visual fidelity, with the sharper details, more noticeable effects in the environment. The fog sweeping across the bridge in front of the palace, and also flaming torches are clearly of a high resolution. On the other hand, the performance mode also cuts down to many of these effects and runs much smoother. So here's the thing I have a question about, right? The little things that he said, like the fog, the fire on the torches, like just the lighting and stuff like that, like the little details. Most people, and I'm going to use Division 2 because it's a visually stunning game, right? They have so much detail, like in the background, the world, the garbage, and the different things, and the rain, and the water, and all this stuff. And everyone just kind of just runs past it because they don't really care about that stuff. No one's looking at it going, oh, did you see the detail on that garbage? You might walk up to something and go, oh, it's a pixelate or whatever, and see how much detail they have. But other than that, you're just just going through. You don't really care about that stuff. So it makes me wonder that the stuff that he's talking about right now, okay, and me, again, this is not me shitting on the PlayStation 5 Pro. It's wondering, like when you're playing a Forza game or a Gran Turismo game, if I'm going 210 miles an hour, do I really care what the grass detail looks like when the screen's doing this past my car? Probably not, right? So if a torch is better looking or the grass or the trees look a little bit better, but I'm going 210 miles an hour in a racing car game, does it really make a big difference? Probably not, right? So in the PlayStation 5 Pro mode, Demon's Souls can also be played in the best both worlds and then some. With it on, the level of detail is much more evident and compared to both cinematic and performance mode. I played the Demon's Souls multiple times in both performance and cinematic modes, and I never noticed how much debris there is in the air in a tutorial section. I've never even stopped to watch how the light coming from the flame or the lamp, realistically, pulsing on the stone wall or pressed up against the affected other modes, right? Now, that's perfectly my example, right? So when you're walking past this stuff, you never even pay attention to that stuff. But now you are, because now they told you it's better looking, and you're like, oh, it's... But then you're just going to walk past it again, right? You're going to look at it and go, oh, wow, look at the detail of that fire. That's fantastic. And then you're going to forget about it because you're just playing the gameplay, right? You're just playing the game at that point. Okay? So it realistically pulses on the stone wall, presses up against it. This is also affected in other modes, significantly degraded compared to when using the PlayStation 5 Pro option. The individual embers of the makeup, the red tutorial messages discernible. Until now, it looked more like a red streak. Light hitting the stone defines the jagged edges of blocks used to also build up the walls. Monumental castle. Never noticed it before because I wasn't there. Okay? Well, you also don't care. Right? Like, think about this for a second. If they told you the detail and they showed you, and let's say they compared the game from PlayStation 5 to PlayStation 4, they would say, look at the detail on the castle wall. Right? Look at the detail on the flame. You'd be like, look how much better looking it is because you're comparing it to the PlayStation 4. Obviously, it's going to be much better. Now they're comparing the PlayStation 5 Pro to the PlayStation 5. And now because you're staring at it, now you're like, oh, see, it's not comparable. See, it's much clearer. But most people are not even going to pay attention to that. You're not going to worry about that. Okay, so the PlayStation 5 Pro mode, also everything has an extra luster to it, a way that made it feel like it was a tourist in a world spent hundreds of hours in already. Demon's Souls is a nice-looking game regardless of how you play it, but the PlayStation 5 Pro has kept spotting new details, and I will be replaying the game on the Pro for sure. Now, the issue, however, is that most of these new visual touches are extremely subtle, to the point where I spent a non-insignificant amount of time flipping back and forth between cinematic and performance on PlayStation 5 Pro modes to properly identify the changes. And this is my point. This is exactly my point. Okay, cool. The technology's there. It makes it better. But he had to sit there and go back and forth to see what the changes were. Okay? So it's one of those things that if you didn't have to spend the time closely inspecting inches of the screen, it probably would never have noticed it. This makes the visual tweaks to Demon's Souls that the PlayStation 5 brings a nice-to-have more than an essential upgrade. The graphical difference between the cinematic and the PlayStation 5 Pro for most people will be negligible, okay, but it also improved the frame rate of the smoothness of how it comes from the palatable of the in-game feel. It's also objective according to Cerny. Now, Alan Wake 2 has been updated to utilize the PlayStation 5 Pro, improve the ray tracing capabilities, and again, it becomes noticeable if you spend the time inspecting the differences. The mood of the game is enhanced thanks to the better ray tracing, and for those who also choose quality mode, you'll also not be able to play the game and have it look as good anywhere other than a more powerful PC. A game that is also related to the lighting. Now, that's the thing, right? So it wouldn't look this good unless you were on a PC, okay? So a game is also related to the lighting on the set of tone and power of gameplay definitely benefits from the quality of ray tracing. But again, there are trade-offs. Quality mode has ray tracing, which also bells and whistles of realistic reflections, as well as the 4K resolution, but also runs 30 frames per second, much like Demon's Souls cinematic mode, and downside is more laggable feel to gameplay. It's not that way I would play also the whole game. However, the PlayStation 5 Pro, again, does what Cerny said it would, and finds at the sweet spot of Alan Wake 2's performance mode, which is equivalent to the visual fidelity of the quality mode, and then also the game is played on the standard PlayStation 5. But with the higher frame rate, the resolution and performance mode, so it looks nice and feels good. Rather than simply present you with a few present modes of Marvel Spider-Man 2, gives players a variety of options to tweak the visual effects and features you to liking a keen to the way a PC game would also allow specific adjustments to dial in what you also would like to perform. This is possible through the Fidelity Pro mode, which targets 30 frames per second, brings a ray tracing that lets you also tweak how light, shadows, reflections, interiors, and ambient work, as well as offering an uncapped frame rate meant to work in conjunction with the viable refresh rate support the display offers it. Okay, there's also an option to leverage 120 Hz support if your display is capable of it. Now, bumping the frame rate up depending on what you get up to, Spidey, which also the options of Marvel Spider-Man 2, looks fantastic. At night, there's also enough clarity to make out the individual lit rooms on high-res buildings far more in distance, and the game allows the time to day to quickly change, seeing the city bathe in the blanket of gold light. Okay. Does he, Oh, let's see if we can... Oh. Is that it? Senior creative director, Insomniac Games. Hey, you know what we'll do? Hold on. Let me just open it up in another.
I think what's been great about this generation of consoles is that players get to choose how they want to play the game. The challenge is, are we delivering the promise of this character, of this franchise, playing either in fidelity mode or performance mode?
In order for us to accomplish that, we want to put as much detail as we can into the characters and the environments. But one of the things that you will experience in real life is that the world is incredibly reflective. There's glass buildings that are reflecting. Spider-Man's goggles, his lenses, are reflecting the world around him. And we've always had to make compromises when we switch to a performance mode. The fidelity of it drops a little bit just so that we can get that extra performance.
And so your final product ends up being kind of that compromise between the creative vision and the technical limitations that we have. The team works really, really hard to make sure no matter your personal preference, that feeling of what you want to be as Spider-Man will continue to be felt.
The PS5 Pro fits in nicely where it allows for higher fidelity. The ray tracing is now 2 to 3 times as fast. Have an actual custom silicone AI upscaler that performs the upscaling, the anti-aliasing, frees up a lot of the GPU to render pure graphics, but also improves the visuals and the jump in quality, fidelity. The extra detail in the distance is just unbelievable.
Players can swing through the city at 60 frames per second and get that nice, smooth controls that they want, but at the same time have the fidelity of the world and the characters from fidelity mode. When players play Marvel Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 5 Pro, they are playing the quintessential version of the Spider-Man experience on the PlayStation 5.
I have a question. Spider-Man 2 comes out on PC. Wait. Let me see what he says here again.
Spider-Man experience on the PlayStation 5.
Okay, you're getting the best experience on PlayStation 5, but you're not, because now Spider-Man 2 is coming onto PC, and then you would have the best experience on the PlayStation, not on the PlayStation 5 Pro. You would only have the best experience on a PC, right? Because with the PC, you have a better graphics card. Now, obviously, there's price point and stuff like that, but the best experience would be on PC, right? Because that's usually where you have it if you have the actual. So for all the games tested, the distinction between the way the game feels and everything cracked up and the less intensive performance mode is also less pronounced. It looked fantastic and played great too in both modes. Similar to the visuals, disparity between Fidelity Pro and Performance Pro wasn't noticeable unless you compared them side by side. And that was exactly my point from the very beginning, right? From the very beginning, just go back to 720p televisions to 1080p televisions, okay? Majority of people, when you walked into a Best Buy or Circuit City or wherever you bought your television set, the only reason you went from a CRT monitor or the old school television sets to a flat panel is because they're widescreen. You're like, oh my God, this is a huge difference. Like visually, you can tell the difference. So when you watch the 720p, you're like, this is amazing compared to 480, right? Because you compared it. But if they didn't put the 720 next to the thing, and then remember when they showed you in like Best Buy, you would walk past the TV, and it was one TV, and they would show you what 1080p looked like to 720. They would have that line going across it. And you're like, was I watching blurry television? Right? Obviously, no, you weren't watching blurry television. Okay? If I'm a person, and you're not in a box store, and you just buy a television set, you put it in your house, you plug in the system, you put it on there, you're going to turn it on and go, holy shit, this looks good. Doesn't matter if it's a PlayStation 5 or if it's a PlayStation 5 Pro. You're going to put it in and go, holy shit, this looks fantastic. 99% of the people that put it into the television sets probably don't even have the right cable going into the actual television set. They just know because the box told them it's going to look this good. They're going to put it on the television set and go, well, that's 4K. And be like, hold on a second, give me your controller. You go through the settings, you're like, no, that's 4K. And you're like, oh. That looks good. That looks much better. You can't tell, right? The guy who's reviewing this says you can't tell unless you put it side by side. You wouldn't know what you're looking at if someone didn't tell you. Did you see the torch? The torch looks much better. Did you see the graphics in the as you're swinging by the thing? Did you see that the graphics inside the windows? Most people would be able to tell. Okay, so it's this shuffling between them because the game to reload and restart at the checkpoint. So trying to spot the difference is trickier than just one screen. But I was impressed by the PlayStation 5 Pro and was able to give gameplay at 60 frames per second without the compromising of the quality of the image or missing out on the ray tracing, the reflections through the performance mode. Opted to stick with that over the 30 frames per second VRR 120 hertz options offered in the Fidelity mode. Thanks to the Pisser Performance Pro, visuals of roughly equivalent to the game being played in previous PlayStation 5 models of Fidelity mode, you're effectively getting a ray tracing light and desperately the only reality evident to stop the fixate on the details or the reflections on how the light hits windows, though, in the game. You're also constantly swinging around the city, breaknecking speeds. How often are you really going to be doing that? Exactly. I'm not saying that it's not better looking. What I'm saying is that the amount of speed in a video game that you're doing with the car, or if I'm running around Division and I'm shooting people and stuff, I'm not looking at the fine amount of details unless everything stops and you're like sitting on there in a pause screen. You come back and drinking some water and you're like, that's really cool. You see the reflection in that? That's great. Then you can start swinging again. And it's just, right? You don't even know what you're looking at. Okay, so the PlayStation 5 Pro made a difference in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which previously took a big hit when playing the graphics as priority. Now, the new versatility mode, however, balanced a sharper 4K picture with the high-quality graphical details, with stating that at 60 frames per second, a graphics option allows the game to prioritize visuals even further while letting you the FPS fluctuation a bit more. There's also a sharp or soft option, which also adjusts the clarity of the graphics according to the maintaining 60 frames per second. And versatility mode, however, is also the best way to play Rebirth, since it remedies the choppiness and resolution mode on the base PlayStation 5. Which before this came out was the best place to play it. The choppiness of the resolution. Okay, so the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart performance fidelity modes functions similar to Spider-Man 2. The former offers a visual quality of fidelity mode on a standard PlayStation 5, but with improved ray tracing. 60 frames per second performance and sharper image quality through the Pisser. I love saying Pisser, sorry. Fidelity Pro. Meanwhile, runs at a 30 frames per second individual turnable ray tracing VRR and 120 hertz option of Ratchet and Clank and Fidelity Pro mode, which also looks so sharp. That's when I switched it to it. I could feel my eyes strain to adjust the increase of visual quality. The game is incredibly colorful and vibrant, as well as a dense with characters, objects, and also effects. In the best way possible, it's way too much. Okay, I didn't know there was a focus because there was also so much going on that it's also was initially overwhelming. It's so bright and so good. I've had this experience before with certain TVs. Like when you watch certain movies, you're like, holy shit, that looks amazing, right? I would love to see a test like 4 years from now. Most people playing games at the high fidelity 4K mode at 120 frames per second, most people need glasses now because their eyes have been baked. Okay. He says, I didn't know what to focus on. I already read that part. But again, for the average person, chances are that the switch to Performance Pro, you'll have to pop on specs, bust out a pointer, and highlight the differences between the two modes for PlayStation 5 Pro. And I don't think this is a big deal, right? I think it's a big deal for the extra price that you're paying. That's what I think the big deal is, okay? I think the big deal is that you're paying $700, okay, for minuscule details that the average person won't ever see or understand, okay? So it says to buy or not to buy. That is the common thread for most of other games I played here. In many ways, the PlayStation 5 Pro changes very little. There's an option to play the games in stunning visuals okay, and the lower frame rate, and the option to play the games looking nice but performing a higher frame rate, but performing higher frame rates, which is the same decision that needs to be made in playing games in the standard PlayStation 5. But because of that, the little gaming gremlin in your head reminding you that you're also using an inferior option, that you're also hoping to silent is still there. There are also new options to get caught up in. The PSSR is also the ability to upscale and clean up images, also applies to PlayStation 4 games. According to Sony, Game Boost will also stabilize the improved performance around 8,500 backwards compatible PlayStation 4 games. There will also be enhancing images qualities for PS4 games. I decided to put this in the test to a couple of PlayStation 4 games, like with the PlayStation 5 titles. I just used my naked eye, but this time I was able to see more direct compared to the games connecting to the additional PlayStation 5 console. Using my European account to run the same game with both devices, then I could flip between them and see what anything has changed. The games I tested were the PlayStation 4 version of Bloodborne, Ghost of Tsushima, Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain, and all three games I observed very subtle changes to visual quality. After starting them up for long enough, I felt that they also looked very slightly better, which also attributed to the noticeable contrast due to the less and blur pictures of quality. Once again, it's a difference subtle enough that easily missable if you're for many people that are also likely that what will happen. But while the visual difference is negligible, there's also an improvement to load times for PlayStation 4 games running on the PlayStation 5 Pro. For example, Bloodborne's notorious long transition between locations of the Hunter's Dream is now a couple of seconds shorter in places. Going from first floor sick room to Hunter's Dream went from 11 seconds to 9 seconds. Holy shit, that's $100 a second. That's $100 a second. You just burned off 2 seconds for $200 extra. Okay, Ghost of Tsushima, meanwhile, was also pretty long until load comes from Sucker Punch logo to display, which also cut down on the Pro. And it seems without developers taking specific actions to better utilize the power of the PlayStation 5 Pro, most PlayStation 4 games won't meaningfully change, or those also need to have features like uncapped frame rate. Bloodborne was locked at 30 frames, doesn't see to offer quest performance increase the Pro. In similar vein, Metal Gear Solid 5 seems to load a bit quicker, but it wasn't egregiously bad on the PlayStation 4 anyway, so the difference isn't noteworthy. And so on, the PlayStation 5 overall device won't have a huge impact on the way most people play experienced games. The title is also available at the time. Testing show changes the most minuscule. It also confidently suggests that people buy it instead of one of the existing cheaper PlayStation 5 models. It certainly doesn't help that games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which reportedly benefits more significantly from the power of the Pro, aren't patched yet. Nevertheless, bigger issue with the PlayStation 5 Pro faces is that it fails to pass the value proposition check the original hardware presented. There are no new games available at the demonstration of which additional horsepower does, nor already released games are significantly evaluated or elevated by the PlayStation 5 Pro worsened still. Sony hasn't given any glimpse of the future potential for what consoles could do. So the obsolete make of the PlayStation 5 Pro fit neatly into the same category as essentially premium-priced hardware iteration that Apple's Pro iPhones occupy. The new tech specs seem exciting, but once you spent the money, you have your hands on it, the impact is minimal, leaving you to think that whether or not your money was better spent elsewhere, the die-hard need to be on the bleeding edge people, or keeping up with the Joneses, will likely see some benefit, but for most people, the difference aren't essential. It's also looking to play games the best way possible. A PC still presents more value for your money, okay? What Mark Cerny, Cerny's engineers and Sony proposed to do with the PlayStation 5 Pro reveal has also achieved to a degree. The gap between some fidelity mode looks and the way performance modes plays feels similar. Having a technology like PSSR machine learning chip in the console is also impressive. But for now, it's also only exciting on paper and not enough to recommend or alternative of cheaper options. Ultimately, there's still a choice made between better visuals and performance, just with less noticeable trade-off. I hope that one day the PlayStation 5 Pro really shows off what it can do, evaluate the games. But for now, it's a console you should get only if you got the cash and to spare, and you just want to know if you have the least version of the console. For everyone else, the standard PlayStation 5 will do just fine. And this is one of the reasons that I said when they announced it, I said, PlayStation 4 guys are not coming over to buy the PlayStation 5. And they're also not going to go to PlayStation 5 because they were waiting. They're like, well, I'm waiting for that price to go down. Right? They don't want to pay $500 for a console. They would rather pay $350, maybe even $400 for that console. And because the PlayStation 5 Pro came out and they didn't lower the price of the standard PlayStation 5, they are going to have problems selling those systems. Because remember, there might be 61 million people playing on PlayStation 5 or own a PlayStation 5. And then the people that buy the PlayStation 5 Pro are already in the console market with them in that PlayStation 5 era. Very few people will come from the 4 to buy the PlayStation 5 Pro. They might come over to the PlayStation 5 now, but because they never dropped the price, it's going to be a hard sell. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let's see what you guys are saying here. I think it was a pretty fair article, too, right? He's saying, I'm just giving you the test. He owns every single system, tells you exactly what it is. He says, yeah, it looks great, but the average person is not going to notice. Let's see. Roadkill says, in some games don't even run great on high-end graphic cards, so I'd rather have a Pro any day. It's not made for that. It's made for that you can have ray tracing at 60 frames at 4K. That's what it's built to do, so people are looking for it to do something else. No, the guy that did the visual, like, the guy in the article is doing exactly what he said. He gave it the naked eye test, and you can't tell. It's very subtle, is what he was saying. He wasn't shit-talking it. He was literally saying that, yeah, it does this. This does very good. The torches look great. The scenery looks great. The lighting looks fantastic. But he's like, but you can't tell. The average person's not going to be able to tell. Roadkill says, the guy reviewing it is lying. Digital Foundry said it's a significant upgrade in graphics that the dude just hoping on clicks. I don't think I get that from at all from what he was saying. Why would he lie about it? He says he literally has all the things. Why would he lie about it? Chris says, I can tell the difference between quality and performance mode based on the PlayStation 5. People are unable to see the difference just to prove they're not the target audience. They might not be the target audience, but that's what... Did you guys listen to what I was saying? Probably not, because they probably tuned out. But he said that the average person is not going to be able to tell. So he's giving an article saying, like, look, this is what it does. It's great. It does the performance great. It does this great. Graphically, it looks fantastic. But the average person is not going to be able to tell. Right, Sarge? It's like watching a TV ad, and they tell you to look at the quality of it. And the TV you're watching on is shit. Yeah, hello? Exactly right. Argus says, nobody cares who Sony's target audience is. Anybody can critique their product regardless of who it's for. We don't have to work with the favorable PlayStation talking point parameters. Yeah, we're just talking about in a... I think a pretty straight up like thing that most people are not going to notice. Most people don't even notice on their regular games now, right? Obviously, I think it's great that it's doing what it's doing. But at the same time, for $200 extra, what he's saying in the article, it's probably not worth it for the majority. I don't know if you guys understand what the majority is. Of majority of people not getting it. Argus says the Titan, they won't stop making the Slim. Majority of gamers on the planet are never buying the Pro regardless. It's a perception thing and the lack of knowledge around the device upgrades like that. Look, the only reason they have it where it is they know that console sales are slowing down. So you have to make, how do you make that money back, right? How do you, if this group of people that's in your ecosystem of PlayStation is not moving over to PlayStation 5 for whatever reason, they don't have enough money, they don't care about the upgrade or whatever, They're stuck over here on the 4. 67 million people are stuck on the PlayStation 4. Okay? It's not a made-up number. That's their number. Okay? 67 million people are stuck over here. Okay? Then you have your PlayStation 5 people. And then they're like, well, these people are not coming over here. Well, how do we keep making money if this is slowing down? The PlayStation 5 sales are slowing down. People are not moving over from the PlayStation 4. We're like, well, let's make the PlayStation 5 Pro. And the people that are over here, we'll make an additional $200 off of them. Right? That's it. They're going back to the pool. They're going back to the people that they know that love the stuff that they make. These are the same people that buy the VR headset. These are the same people that bought the Portal. They have to go back to the pool of people that are loving the product because they're not getting new consumers. They're not getting new people to come in to this new ecosystem, not the old one. Obviously, they're still making money off of the PlayStation 4 guys. Lucas says, I also noticed that the brain gets get used to anything. When I started playing Switch, I first looked horrible, but after a while, it doesn't bother me. Yeah, the brain adapts very fast to stuff. If they want it to sell, make Bloodborne 60 frames exclusive to the Pro. Papa says 30. It's already showing what it can do. Chris says, why are these people testing games they already ran great, were optimized? There's also a test for Wukong, Space Marines 2, older taxing games like Forspoken, Immortal of Avium. Weak test. He literally took games that were their titles on the platform, Chris. He literally used the test of games that are first-party titles on the PlayStation 5. The test that he was doing was saying, if you get a Pro, buying these games, like what game was he supposed to use? Right? He's using the upgrade of the console with the games that they make for the console. Eclipse says, if you think the Pro can run a ray tracing at 4K at 60 frames per second, you're delusional. Yeah, they're first party. Chris, I understand that you like PlayStation, right? And I'm personally not shitting on the PlayStation 5 Pro, right? But when you make statements like that, obviously it comes across that you are a PlayStation fanboy, which is fine. The guy who wrote the article literally said he owns every single system. Every single system. He told you how he's testing it and why he's testing it, because of it's their games on their systems. That's why he's testing it the way he is. Like, if you have a PlayStation 5 Pro, cool, enjoy it. No one's going to tell you how to play your system and the way it looks, and you're going to enjoy it. You don't have to sit here and be like, oh, I'm having fun. I'm having fun looking at my great games. Look at it. I can see. I'm going to stare at this torch. Like, have fun. We're just saying that it's not for the average person. And I'm talking about it as they know it's not for the average person, and this is why they're double dipping into the pool of people that have already given them money, because that's the source that's going to keep them going. Because the people are not moving over from their PlayStation 4. How to move them over from the PlayStation 4 is dropping the price of the PlayStation 5. Argus says, not sure if the disk drive's availability at the moment since the console is about to launch tomorrow, but the rest assured that you shouldn't have a hard time getting one shortly after this. Well, they're selling them all over the internet, like scalpers and whatnot, Argus. I think they're also, I don't know if they're sold out personally. I haven't looked up the information, but I know a lot of people were selling them on the internet a couple weeks ago. Yeah, he said the Final Fantasy, they still haven't patched it yet. They still haven't patched it. What are they waiting for? Chris says the first party is the at least played games by the majority. People played the first and second and third party games in their main console, so those games also matter just as much as the first party. First party is the most optimized versus third. Right, that's why he was using those games as the standard, and then said, I really can't tell the difference. Altern says, we all know that the PlayStation 5 Pro sold out because people want to resell it. Most of them are for resales. Sure. I mean, obviously, even the analysts said that it's only going to sell, was it 1.5 million units from now to the end of the year, which is March is the end of the cycle for the business year. Okay? So that's what they, and then when we looked at the chart of what it was projected over the next 5 years, it underperforms of what the PlayStation 4 and to the PlayStation 4 Pro by like 10 million. He's stupid because you can tell the difference. No, he can tell the difference. He said you can see it, Roadkill. He said you can see it. I think you guys are missing the point. I think you're missing the point. I think you guys, you're like this. You're like horses with blinders on. Okay. You guys can't see it because you're in love with the thing, which is fine. Okay. His review, his talking point of the actual console was, is it worth the upgrade? And gave you the parameters of, for the average person, what she said multiple times in the article, is it worth your money to upgrade to this for what it's offering? Giving you detailed information of what it was, the torch, the glass, what it's doing, the frame rate, it looks great, Ratchet and Clank, okay? But you guys are just like, la, 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 I don't see it, I don't hear it, like, you guys are so blinded by your hatred for anyone that says anything bad about the thing that you like, instead of just listening to what he's saying. They're a business, right? You're the customer. You bought the actual product. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. He's writing an article and telling people, hey, if you're interested in this, this is what it is. Most people won't be able to tell what it is, which is not a mistake, because most people don't even know what they have now. Most people can't tell now. Okay? Now, I know someone's going to bring it up and go, well, 3/4 of the people playing on PlayStation want performance mode. Correct. Because the people that are on PlayStation 5 now, majority of those people are people that can tell those things. The other people over on PlayStation 4 can't tell or don't give a shit. And if those people all came over here and everyone, 122 million people, were all on PlayStation 5, the majority would lean towards people that didn't notice because they don't notice. Altern says, to be honest, the specs of the stuff on the console doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if the devs don't make games 60 frames, it doesn't matter anything else. It's not a PC where you can tune up for your liking. Right. I mean, obviously, the Spider-Man thing is funny. To have the best Spider-Man experience, it's only on the PlayStation 5. Well, obviously, it's an exclusive game. So if you were marketing that to compete against Spider-Man, or I'm sorry, Xbox, then that would make sense, right? This is the best place to play it because it's on the other console too, but it's not on the other console. But it is on PC. And you can't compete with PC because the people that are on PC have bigger graphic cards and whatnot. And sure, it's more money, but the best place to play Spider-Man 2 wouldn't be on PlayStation anymore. It would be on PC. The Pro was never for the average person. It was for the hardcore. Again, you guys are... The person writing the article is saying, is the details enough for it? He knows it's for a niche community. He actually said that in the actual article. It's not for the average person. Most people won't even be able to tell. God's sakes. Not true. The people on PlayStation 4 probably just don't have the money to upgrade yet. So they were waiting to save up money for the PlayStation 5, and they went, no, I'm going to save up a little bit more money to get the PlayStation 5 Pro. Is that what you're saying, Roadkill? Not the fact that maybe, you're right, they don't have enough money, and they were waiting for the PlayStation 5 Pro to come out so the lower price of the PlayStation 5 would go down so then they can afford it. Argus says the average gamer won't even be able to tell much with ray tracing because those aren't the things that those types of people are paying close attention to overall, aware of. Right. Right. But that's my point, Worlds. If you're a person that's buying it, why are you blindly defending it, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, enjoy your box. The article's talking about, hey, if you're in the market for this, this is what's happening, and most people won't be able to tell. So, if you're looking to spend $700, don't do it, because you can get what you're getting for $500. Imagine a person giving a review and giving information to someone to make the choice that they want to buy the $700 system or not. Travis says 30. What's weird is that I'm a huge Sony pony guy. You know how I do it. But mostly silent because it's like he's not insulting it, but he's also not stoking it. Right. I know it's really hard to understand what reviews are. This actual review is a fucking review. He actually reviewed something. He didn't put his bias or anything towards it. Just said, this is the details. And if you're a person, like... it might not be worth it for you. If this doesn't sound something like you want, then don't spend the $700 because you'll be fine with the $500 one for the PlayStation 5. And yet there's people in here going, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. It's not meant for him. Okay. Imagine what reviews are take. like, what? You guys are so skewed by... other people skewing your brains that when someone comes out with an actual review of something, you're like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just giving a based opinion. Argus says that's likely not the case. A vast majority of gaming consumer market cannot justify $700 on a home console. A majority of people will not buy the Pro. I'd be surprised if the Pro ever hits 4 million. They said that the total sales, wasn't it, was like 5 million or something like that? Well, they said it would sell about 1 million to 1.5 million. I think it was 1.2, 1.5 is what they were shooting for. Argus is what they said. That's till March 31st. From November, December, January, February, March, 5 months, they said it would sell 1.5 million is what their projection was. No game manufacturer has dropped prices. That's not true. Xbox has dropped their price. Nintendo hasn't dropped their price. Right? Nintendo didn't drop their price, but they came out with a Switch Lite, which is sort of dropping the price. They didn't want to lower the price of the Switch. They came out with the Switch Lite, which is a lower price. right? Xbox had a lower tier with the Xbox Series S, and they've also put it on sale multiple times. You get a Series X right now for $300, sometimes $250, and you don't even need to get a console anymore for Xbox side. Nintendo set the standard without doing a price drop, but they did do a price drop. They have the Switch, and then they have the Switch Lite, which is a price drop for people that want to get the Switch, but they don't want the TV access of it. Titan says, 30, what do you think of the white 2 terabyte Xbox? All this talk was about PlayStation 5 Pro. The Xbox, it's the same thing, right? It's the exact same thing. It's just white with no disk drive. I mean, they just raised the storage capability, and they made it sparkly, and they made it white. The exact same. I think it was interesting that Linus from Tech Tips, whatever, did which was a weird video. He has the Xbox. Here, let me see if I can bring it up. Okay. Right? He does an Xbox thing. Was it on Linus Tech Tips? I think it was. Or was it a different... Yeah, here it is.
Microsoft just sent us.
Right, this video right here. We're not going to watch it. We'll watch a little bit of it. But this video right here. It's a video where he's talking about. He's holding the brand new Xbox. Right. You think that this video is on Xbox? The title of it: True Cost of Digital Games. Microsoft's new Xbox is the worst deal ever. Okay, but yet. The entire video is about digital games on the PlayStation. Like what? Does he have the actual yeah. Right. Answer the first question, practical tips of saving your money. He goes over the whole thing. Is it cost more effective for Xbox for digital or physical? Over the lifespan of the stuff. Now, he talks about the new Xbox in the beginning, but then talks about PlayStation's price model and their subscription models and all the stuff. And I'm like, I'm confused. Why did you even hold up the Xbox? Right? Because they know people love to hate on Microsoft. So that's why he put it there. Could have easily just put a PlayStation no disk drive there and then done the exact same thing. Right? The video itself is called The True Cost of Digital Games, and Microsoft's new Xbox is the worst deal ever. The Switch Lite is not a price drop. It's a different model. I don't know if you understand how business works, Chris, but if people don't want to buy the higher tier, then they make a lower tier, right? So it's not a price drop for that box, but to get into the ecosystem, it's cheaper and they get in, right? They're staying strong to what the price is, but they gave another model to get in at that level. Hence why Xbox made the X and then they made the S. Same exact thing, right? The lowering the price, the Switch didn't come out the same time as the Switch Lite. It was the Switch. Then they came out with a cheaper version because why? People weren't moving over to the Switch fast enough. So then they made the Switch Lite because it was a cheaper version. And then people were like, oh, I'll get that instead. What are the downsides of it? Well, you can't plug it into your television set. It's just a handheld. The white one isn't 2 terabytes. It's 1 terabyte with no disk drive. I thought it was 2 terabytes. Yeah. The Microsoft Xbox Series X 2 terabyte console Galaxy Black Special Edition. That's a 2 terabyte one. Isn't that the new one? There's a white version and then there's the 2 terabyte sparkly version, right? Is the white version only? Oh, so just the Galaxy Black Special Edition is 2 terabytes. The white one is 1 terabyte. Gotcha. We're not talking about entry-level barriers. If we're interested in a regular size Switch, then I have to buy it at the same retail price since launch and find it on sale. Sure, but you have a choice now, right? To say that they didn't lower the price, they did lower the entry barrier price because the barrier price was the Switch at $300, $300 or $350, I forget what it was. Okay, and then they put the light in there because they know people weren't spending the money. Where PlayStation has a $500 system and made it one more expensive, not one cheaper. You see what I'm saying? The people that are waiting to get into the PlayStation 5 market at $500, they're not buying a $500 system. Then they came in with a higher tier one at $700, which then makes the one that was there the same price, never went down in price, where Nintendo said, here's the higher tier one, and here's the entry-level one where we made it cheaper for you. So yeah, they didn't lower the Switch. They made a completely different Switch at a lower tier to get those people to come into the ecosystem of the Switch. Did Sony do that? Sony didn't do that. Sony made a higher tier one to make the one that was normal the lower tier one, which is still too much. Again, I'm just a consumer, though. I'm not the business owner. So they can make their mistakes like that. Less people are buying consoles. So you can't sell more consoles, so you have to sell the same console to the same people that have already bought your first console with minuscule updates. Which is fine because they know their clientele, obviously. No one's buying the digital one because I think there was 80% of the people that bought a PlayStation 5. It was 80% or 82% of people bought it with a disc drive, right? People didn't want to get the discless version of it because they wanted to put their own games. They wanted to have that option, right? But the problem with that is if you want the disc drive, then you have to buy a standalone version of it, which raises that price even more. You might get your game stolen if it's digital. Yeah, speaking from experience, right, Travis? You figured that out, right? Did they give you your stuff back or no? You had to buy it all over again. I still don't know how you did it. I still don't understand how you did it. I would never go back. Chris, but the people are not coming over. That's the difference. The people are not coming over because the prices are still too high. You understand that? Less people are buying consoles. They can have the discless one and the regular PlayStation 5, and I don't think there's any. Is there any? What's the price difference between? Is it $100 or $50 for the digital version and the disc drive one? Okay, and then you put a $700 system. You have 67 million people that are not coming over from your that are in your ecosystem for PlayStation 4. Okay, they're not coming over. Why? You just added another. They weren't coming over to buy the $400 version. They weren't buying the $500 version. Okay, so they're either waiting for games, they're waiting for a price decrease, they're waiting for something, right? They're in your ecosystem over here, but they're not coming over. Why? What is the reason the 67 million people that own a PlayStation 4 are not coming over? Flip says Brighter Shores is pretty good. 30. It's a more tamed version of RuneScape for sure. Is it a move around free or is it more like turn based? I got back a lot of my stuff because they sent me credit, but the short version was a fuck up on both sides. So wait, they didn't even give you the money back. So they canceled. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Oh, where I land, I do not know. But here I fall down the rabbit's hole.
Okay. Let me get this straight, Travis. Let me get this straight. They took all of your games away from you, wouldn't give you your account back, so they then gave you credits to give back to you so you could rebuy the stuff. Is that what I'm hearing? They couldn't reinstate your account with your games, so they deleted them. And then gave you credits so you could get them back. But not all of them. Bro. So I was technically doing something wrong. Technically doing something wrong, but by game sharing, but it was also only brought to attention when someone else did something illegal. Right. But they canceled your account. And instead of giving all your games back, they gave you credit, but not enough to get all your stuff back. Moral of the story is don't share. I would. It doesn't matter if it's. Doesn't matter if it was Steam. Doesn't matter if it was Xbox. Doesn't matter if it was Sony. If that company did something like that to me, I would never, ever purchase things from them again. Ever. They'd be dead to me. Honestly, they didn't even have to give credit. As far as they're concerned, I did something wrong and violated the rules, 30. That love, man, that love for Sony is strong with you. Dear Lord, I have never loved a corporation as much as that. That is dedication. Chris says, we are halfway through the generation and half the previous generation has moved over. We're 80% supposed to be the PlayStation 5 by now. Half the generation is on PlayStation 4 and is the same for Xbox. Casuals move slow. No, people are not buying. This is the thing you keep missing that I keep saying, I don't know, once a week. Console sales are getting less and less every generation. Less and less every generation. Okay. If Nintendo is the high point, right? They have the most sales right now in this generation. Then you have PlayStation, then you have Xbox. You take from the last generation, PlayStation was the highest, and then there was Nintendo, and then there was, right? It's gotten less and less every generation. The total console market, okay, has not gone up. It's gone down. Less and people are buying consoles. So they have to sell more stuff to the people that are in their ecosystem. I mean, look, Nintendo sold cardboard to people and they bought it. Travis says, I mean, it's a dick move, but I have a friend, same thing happened to him on Xbox. Right, that's why I said it doesn't matter if it's Xbox, Sony, Nintendo, Steam. If they did that to me, I would never, ever support them ever again. But that's me. That's me. What else are you gonna do? Quit taking trading in my PlayStation 5 games? All games would give me get me what, an Xbox? I'm not even giving up a hobby out of spite. I mean, sure. You do you. I'm saying what I would do. I would never support that company ever again. Whatever company that is. Hell, you can take it out of video games. Altern says, you know what you do to get casuals to move? Stop doing games from old systems. Since games are still being made, even COD is still on PlayStation 4. Why move? Speaking of that, Altern, I saw this before we went live. Call of Duty Mobile has reached 1 billion downloads worldwide. 1 billion downloads. Didn't they shut down one of the Call of Duty mobiles? I'm confused. It's a whole lot of people playing a game. Right? It's a whole lot of people. You know, the sunk cost fallacy, Travis, is there for everybody, right? If you're an Xbox person and you don't ever pay for any of your stuff, like you just pay Game Pass, you stop paying for Game Pass, you lose all the stuff. You got to keep paying to keep it, right? So let's look at this real fast, right? If you guys like what I do here, we just talk about gaming news, have conversations. Call of Duty Mobile has reached 1 billion downloads worldwide. If you like what I do, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay, so Activision has revealed that the Game Pass, that as the Game passes its 5th anniversary, Call of Duty Mobile has surpassed 1 billion downloads since 2019, and a staggering figure makes Call of Duty Mobile the best-selling COD game ever. It's almost guaranteed that it's never will be topped as long as we live. I have a question. Does that count as the best-selling COD game ever? You have to purchase it? I thought it was a free download. Am I wrong about this? And even if they sell it, what are they selling it for? Like, hold on a second. Let me look up what the price is of Call of Duty on the phone here. I don't play mobile games. Call of Duty, is it Call of Duty Warzone Mobile? Is that what we're looking at? Yeah, it's free, right? Call of Duty Mobile? That's what we're talking about? Call of Duty Mobile, yeah. It's free. So what are we talking about? The best selling. Can you say best selling? On November 6th, the game's 10th season went live, and hundreds of millions of players set about exploring another battle pass, new weapons, maps, modes, and more. The best-selling Call of Duty game ever made, COD Mobile, is the most accessible, universal, appreciated Call of Duty game ever. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. To think about that, I think the highest Call of Duty game ever was like 30 million. 30 million. Okay? But on mobile, 1 billion. That's insane. Okay? So in 2009, COD Mobile was released, and today the developers are still adding more maps, modes, operations, allowing players to earn COD points to unlock more fleshed out and free profiles. While there's also a topic, you can also check out the guide to unlock free COD points in COD Mobile. A recent blog post, Activision team made a small announcement. Happy 5th anniversary to Call of Duty. Players, thanks to Call of Duty Mobile, we've now reached over 1 billion downloads worldwide since its launch in 2019. Okay? In short and sweet, but it's super impactful, few mobile games are as universal beloved as COD Mobile, which is also represented quite nicely in that 1 billion download milestone. If you're in the market to pick up a COD Mobile game, check out the review. That's insane, man. 1 billion downloads of a game. So, what do you say, like 1%? If 1% of the population of the 1 billion people that downloaded it spent money, like, what are we talking about? That's crazy. That's insane. This is why Sony's trying to get Destiny Mobile. This is exactly why Sony's, because fuck, if Sony could get Destiny Rising to get 1 billion downloads, better believe they're gonna do that. They're like, yeah, let's put it out there and see what happens. Sure, that microtransactions selling, Titan, but when you say 1 billion sales, are they talking about 1 billion mobile microtransaction sales? They're not saying microtransactions. They're saying 1 billion downloads of Call of Duty Mobile. Right? They're not saying 1 billion downloads of microtransactions. They're saying 1 billion sales of Call of Duty. Nobody owns anything. We didn't even own our games back then, but we did. I could literally go grab a game of an old game, not Battleborn, okay, from the last system. I could put it in this machine and play it, or I can grab my old machine and play it. I can still play them. Where's that PlayStation app on mobile to play all the PlayStation games? They're working on it, aren't they, Titan? Aren't they making their own launchers and stuff? Free to play is equivalent to getting someone into your store. Yeah. Hey, come on in. Check it out. Feel things out. Test it out as much as you can. It is a sale. You pay nothing. But that's not a sale. Like, you can't say it's the best-selling COD game because it's fucking free. It's free. That's not a sale. You could say it's the most downloaded Call of Duty. You could say it's the most played Call of Duty, but you can't say it's the best-selling Call of Duty. Not selling anything. You're not selling it. It was $0. It doesn't say that. It just says get. It doesn't say a price. It doesn't say $0 download. It just says get. What's the price of get? It's free. Meaning it's not a selling point. It's not a transaction. It's a free-to-play game. Not selling. If they want to say it's the most downloaded Call of Duty game, great. Selling means they charge something. A penny, half penny, quarter of a penny, something. 1/100th of a penny. Travis says, you know what game has 0 microtransactions? That's right, Mass Effect. Now that's a complete edition anyways. But you know what goes down in price, though? I guarantee if you said $1 for Call of Duty, majority of people wouldn't even try it. Majority of people wouldn't spend $1 to try it, but because it's free, they will. It's just misskewing the what the word is. To say it's the best-selling COD ever. That's not true. I mean, fucking billion downloads, though. And if they are just getting like 1% of sales from microtransactions, you can tell why, Game Pass is everywhere. You can tell why they're going to the mobile market. Right? Like, companies like Disney, they use certain movies that make a shit ton of money, and they take the money that they make, the profits, and put it towards other things that wouldn't make as much money, right? Other projects. Game Pass works because they have other incomes coming in from other places. That's why Game Pass works. Right? The mobile division, billion downloads. Hell, if you just had, let's say you had 100 million microtransaction sales per month. Do you know what I mean? 100 million downloads, 100 million microtransactions a month at $1 just from the mobile division of Call of Duty. That's insane. We don't know the number. I'm just throwing numbers out there. Yeah, I've never played. Here, let me look at the. Let me look at the video here. Looks good. I would never play it. Now I have a question. Your character in the mobile version of the game, is it linked to your account for Activision? Is the mobile attached to your account on like Warzone or whatnot? Artemis says, poor Call of Duty. Only 1 billion downloads. This is a massive disappointment or massive fail for Xbox. Yeah, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Pretty sure mobile is separate and everything? Okay. I wasn't asking if it was like cross-play, Argus. I was just saying like maybe a cross-progression or some shit. Billion. What's the active? What's the active? I wonder if is there somewhere you can look at the active mobile phone? Probably not. Let me see. Call of Duty active players. Did they keep that? Call of Duty live player count and statistics. Okay, here we go. Let me see. Is this real? Last 30 days, 80 million. Last 30 days, 80 million. $80.1 million. Yeah, they're fine. Oh my God. $80 million active players just on Call of Duty Mobile. That is, what is that? What is Warzone right now? Hold on. What's Warzone's? Okay. Well, that's actually, man, let me tell you. Microsoft is really hurting. They're really hurting. Okay. So Modern Warfare live players, okay, online players 1 hour ago is 136,000, right? Active players in the last 30 days is 69 million. 69 million for Warzone. Altern says 80 million phone gamers, or like we call them, bots. Oh man, what is Microsoft gonna do? They're gonna close shop. Xbox is in trouble. I like that people will be like, well, that's the only reason Microsoft is making money or Xbox is making money. Uh-huh. Exactly why they bought it. The only reason the Patriots won the Super Bowl that many times is because of Tom Brady. Yep, that's correct. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of teams there. But they did win. They win one without him? How did they win without him? Castle won one, right? Didn't he? I'm not a Patriots fan, so I don't know. Console COD and mobile COD will make that 70 billion very quickly and very easily. I don't know if it'll be quickly. It'll be quicker. Travis says, 38, breaking news. Everyone is fine, and people love to Doomcast. In other news, sky is blue. That's funny, Jones. Bright idea. Instead of a game bots, they should just use mobile players. How do you know they're not already doing that? Because the controls on a mobile phone, you'd be like, the guy moves like, right? Oh, no, I know Tom Brady won without the Pats. I'm asking if the Pats won without Tom Brady, Artemis. That's what I was asking. I know. Tom Brady brought a Super Bowl to the Tampa Bay. I'm just saying, like, the people that hate on something, they're like, well, the only reason they're profitable is because they bought this. Yeah. That's how it works. What about all those Fortnite or actual mobile players? That's what I'm saying, Altern. That could be. We wouldn't know. That would be genius. That would be genius if it was like that. You know, the only reason Tom Brady is talented is because he's talented. Well, no, he worked hard. He worked his ass off for fucking years. That's why he's talented. You sound like another YouTuber with that impersonation? I have... With what impersonation? Cody says, sorry I'm late. The Ice Age is melted and started. or Meltdown started. But you just got here, and I think I'm leaving, so I'll be live for a couple more minutes. Is he a hard worker, or did he work hard? I think both. It's both. I haven't heard him do that yet, Dolphin. He's like, he's not talented at calling games. I had him on mute on my TV during the Packers game last week. Well, let's be honest. Was he not good at calling games, or do you just hate Tom Brady? Now, come on. Come on now. I'm gonna say, as you being a Green Bay Packers fan, I'm pretty sure you just hate Tom Brady. What if Tom Brady was included in Game Pass? I mean, okay, be a good deal, I guess. What would you do with him? Dolphin says, shit, I'm caught. You know what's funny, Eclipse? As we
Oh, where I land, I do not know. But here I fall down the rabbit's hole.
What I like about the sports, like I don't hate Tony Romo, like as a person, but I thought it was funny because he was a rival to the Giants. He always is an announcer for the Giants. Always. Doesn't matter what game or who they're playing. If it's on TV, Romo is always the announcer. And I'm like, I was like, can we get somebody else to do the Giants games, please? Alton says, I know someone's wife would also have fun with it if he was included in Game Pass. Can I please play the game? Can I get on Game Pass? No, I'm still playing. You're not even a gamer. What are you playing? Oh, you're playing Tom Brady. Inflategate. That's when they were cheating, right? Deflating the balls and cheating. That was the year they were going undefeated, wasn't it? Or was that before that? That was before that. I don't watch sports, but I love me some scandal. You're gonna love Twitter these next couple of weeks, Jones. I'm sure there's gonna be plenty of scandals going on. It's gonna be interesting. Oh, I'll say one more thing, but then I gotta go. I think it's interesting. All the people, right, during this whole, people say some outlandish stuff, right? And now it's time to pay up. And what I mean by that is, certain people say like. If this person wins, I'm leaving the country. This person lives, I'm gonna blow up my house, right? Well, now it's time to pay the piper, right? Like they make these outlandish things, and now I just want to know: are they gonna hold up to it, or are they gonna be known as liars? That's all I like to know. Because I think it's fucking hilarious. Like, I'm gonna do this. I'm like, all right, well, just be careful what you said, because now you put your integrity on the line, and if you're not gonna do it, then people are gonna know you're a fucking liar. Like, I think I saw, I don't know if it was real or not. What's his name? Bono from U2. He says if Trump won, he's going to drive his car off the cliff. So any day now, I'm looking for a news report of that. Like, that's what he did. Or he's just going to continue with his life, and that'll be fine, because I didn't say it. He did. Oh, yeah, there's going to be plenty of scandals. Lots of lists are coming out, supposedly. Lots of things are going to happen. You might see a list for the Diddy. Might see a list for Epstein. It's going to be lots of scandals. It's going to be very interesting the next couple of months and years. Yeah, the diddler. And on that note, my son's home from school, so we're gonna go take care of him. You guys have a great rest of your day. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, to shoot the shit with Sarge. If you guys don't come back, right? Today's Wednesday. Yeah. If you guys don't come back tonight, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for some more gaming news for the Daily Grind, or for Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week. We rant along the way. You guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.